Why, hello there. My name is Kenji Dick.
And I'm Claudia Doing.
And welcome to Wittenberg Radio. It is episode 104, and it is October 3rd, 2017. It's unbelievable. We're already a third of the way through the semester, which is nuts to think about.
What?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Buddy.
So much to do. No, we all have so much to do.
I know.
Hang in there, everyone. We can do this.
We can totally do this.
How are you doing, Kenji?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing fine. I'm a little curious. You know, Thanksgiving's coming up, and I think that, you know, each of the things that we find on a common, you know, Thanksgiving table represents a certain set of characteristics about different food groups. And I'm wondering if you were any one of the particular conventional Thanksgiving food items, which one would you be and why?
Wow, that is a marvelous question there, Claudia. Now, see, I don't like to be cynical on this show because obviously I like to view the show as a way of, you know, trying to escape the various stresses of school life. So my initial response to that question was, I feel like mashed potatoes, and that I used to be one solid form, but now school has slowly been boiling me now to the point that now I've been blended up and now ready to be devoured by my anxieties. However, I realize that is very cynical of me to say that, but there is a little bit of truth on it. As we just talked about, the school year is now speeding by, and that means more and more assignments are coming up. So that was my initial response, but I like to think of myself, you know, also as maybe more optimistically, maybe more as like the cranberry sauce, right?
Right.
You know, like, because I like to view myself as like maybe as kind of like that, you know, person that may not necessarily like, maybe doesn't necessarily mix well with like the rest of the group of foods, but when you actually taste it with like the turkey and like with the stuffing, you know, it actually tastes like, you know, pretty good. You know, you just don't normally associate those two things together, but the nice kind of like sweet, kind of sweet and what's the name? What's a like kind
of tart.
Yeah, sweet and like kind of tart kind of taste to it, like adds greatly to the palate. And so I think I like to view myself as that. So on a cynical day, I'm mashed potatoes. On a good day, I like to view myself as the cranberry sauce. What
a very well-rounded answer, Kenji. I'm impressed.
Wowie. And now in a very clunky transition, let's talk about upcoming events.
There are a couple events happening tomorrow on Wednesday, October 4th. First of all, there's a pancake lunch in the Student Center at noon, so you don't have to pack a lunch tomorrow. How exciting is that? I definitely appreciate that always. So there will be pancakes, and I believe that they are dietary sensitive to like dietary needs and stuff. So yeah, if you're gluten-free or whatever, they will be there.
Awesome.
In the evening, Wednesday night worship at 9:30, as always, every Wednesday. In the lecture hall, go to that. It's pretty cool. I've only been a couple times, but every time I have, I've wished that I had gone. So there's something to look out for. There's a number of events happening this weekend. Sports events specifically. Some men's volleyball against Red River at Red River College on Friday and Saturday. And then there's also women's and men's soccer against St. Boniface. At 1 and 3:15 on Saturday. That will be at Memorial Park, home of the Boniface Rouges. Yeah, so that's exciting. Another exciting thing that has already happened, we just want to highlight here, the women's and men's athletes of the month, Lydia Balzilli and Stefan Schuler. They both play soccer and have done some outstanding playing this first month of the school year and of the soccer season. So shout out to them. They've done a good job.
Wowee. Well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for me to do my now pretty much traditional announcement of the upcoming entry in the classic film series brought to you by Sue Sorensen and the CMU Department of English. This week, Thursday, 8:30 p.m. at Marpeck Commons, we'll be showing The Maltese Falcon from 1941, and this is a classic noir film directed by John Huston and stars good old Humphrey Bogart, as well as Mary Astor. The film follows a San Francisco private detective and his dealings with three unscrupulous adventurers, all of whom are competing to obtain a jewel-encrusted falcon statuette, which is the Maltese Falcon. This is a significant film because it's one of the most famous noir films of all time, and it's also no coincidence that we're playing it this week as Blade Runner 2049, also a film that pays much tribute to noir films of the past, is also coming out this week as well. So please do come to Marpeck Commons, 8:30 p.m. this Thursday to see the Maltese Falcon.
Today on the show, we welcome Grace and James, Grace Kang and James DeGurse. They have last names, believe it or not. They are the editors of the Doxa this year, and we wanted to have them on because the first issue of the Doxa is coming out this week. Yes?
Well,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
early
I think
October.
It is. We're going to say it is. Early October. Okay. But they are here so that you can get to know who they are and actively read the Doxa and anticipate its arrival. As soon
Yeah,
as it
thanks so
comes.
much for having us on.
Yeah, thanks you guys.
Thanks for being here. Grace, this isn't really that new for you. You used to be on Wittenberg, hey?
Yeah, I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago now.
Wow.
With Chris Clausen. Yeah.
Was that at the beginning? I'm just curious.
I think it was the second year.
Second year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty new then. We had, well, I don't know how many mics we had, but we definitely didn't have these fancy pop filters or whatever they're called.
Okay. You weren't in the blow, though, with the chewing
No.
peanuts as they talked.
No.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Cool. Is it interesting to be back? Are you having, like, deja vu? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. It's good to be back and to see how the Wittenberg radio has progressed a little bit and gotten fancier.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Oh, hear that? We're fancy. Can you believe it? I hardly can.
Unbelievable.
Cool. Thanks for chiming in there, Kenji. Cool. Well, it's good to have you here. First, if you want to just like introduce yourselves each, say a little bit about who you are. Who are James and Grace?
Go ahead, James.
Well, I guess I can start. So my name is James DeGurse. Let's see, I'm a fourth year BTS student here at CMU. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm pretty uninteresting.
My name is Grace Kang. I'm a first year MA student here, which is weird. And
What is MA for those of us who don't know?
oh yeah, it's a Master of
Masters?
Arts, like probably the most legit master's program ever. I'm studying Christian ministry, so that's where I'm headed. I love profanities. I work at a flower shop, and I'm a lot more interesting than James.
Can you expand on that first? You love profanities.
I think they're great. I think they express a depth of emotion that we don't often allow ourselves to, and allow people to feel comfortable expressing that because it's funny. And it's just satisfying to drop a few F-bombs every once in a while.
You have a dog, right, Grace?
I do. She's the best.
And James hates your dog.
James hates my dog.
No, I love Grace's dog. I think it's very nice. Every time I see Grace's dog, it comes up on me and tries to knock me down, which I really like.
Oh.
Big fan of Flower. I wish Flower could be on the Doxa committee.
You know what?
Why
She
not?
could be. She could be. But James refused. I had this idea where we were gonna have like an advice column where people would mail in their like love questions, and my dog Flower would answer them. Yeah, and James thought it was stupid and
James
said no.
vetoed it. So this has been a point of contention in your ability to co-lead Doxa
Yeah,
effectively.
we're we fight over that sometimes.
Interesting.
Yeah, mostly verbally because we're pacifists, I think. I don't know if James is, but just assume.
James, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I haven't fought Grace. I don't know if I'm a pacifist. Yeah, we could get into that. I feel like that's
Are you not Catholic?
totally separate discussion.
This is a whole new topic. James is Catholic.
Yeah, I am. I'm RC. Yeah.
RC? Roman Catholic.
Yeah, that's
I
the-
thought you
Took me
said
a minute there.
artsy.
Sorry, I gotcha.
It's the abbreviation. It saves time.
RC.
Oh, okay. You're so cool.
Yeah, it's hip. You know, I just thought I'm at a Mennonite university.
Yeah.
You know, and like I thought like, you know, what can really set me apart? You know, something like unique and quirky. So I thought maybe I'll convert to Catholicism. Yeah.
Wow, what a great way to stand out.
Took like an 8-month course, went through all the.
Wow.
Yeah,
That would
all the
be-
stuff. Just because it's kind of a hip thing to do.
Yeah. It's always a great reason to change religions. So to get kind of on with the Doxa promotion here, what I was curious, what does doxa mean? Do you guys know? Like, I don't expect you to know because maybe you don't. But
Well, we googled it a few times, and doxology is like.
oh, it is
glory.
related.
Yeah,
I was thinking of like the praise God, like the doxology.
Well, in Greek, I think it means glory, and then
Oh.
in something else, it means like popular opinion, or which makes more
Latin,
sense. Latin.
I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like there's
I
something
don't know
else.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know like precisely what it was, what the thought process was when they named it that.
Cool. So, what are your plans for the doxa this year? And like, what is this upcoming issue about?
Good question. Well, what is this upcoming issue about? We have a few articles that are political interest. So there's a controversial article about Wab Kinew. We're starting this new segment that we wanted to call Cage Match, but it was a little too much, so I think we called it Heads and Tails, where two sides of an issue come together and they write opposing articles. Just to see both sides of an issue, we wanted to bring marginalized voices to the platform. So
Like me.
that's one feature to look out for.
And I think one of the people writing for Heads or Tails this month is here with us in this room right now.
What?
What?
Yeah, I am.
That's awesome, Claudia. Yeah.
Yeah, it's harder than I anticipated, but we'll see. Maybe it'll turn out well. We'll see. Stay tuned. It could be pretty interesting. You should read it.
Yeah, totally.
And what else do we have? There's a piece by Jason Friesen about reasons that you should attend Blazers games this year. So that's a really exciting piece. There's the aforementioned checking out churches piece, which I'm doing. There'll also be a piece about the Blaurock Cafe and its revitalization the past couple of years. So I sat down with Eric Epp and Amo Plumbi. They're both Blaurock managers. I sat down with them yesterday to just get a vibe on, what the Blaurock has been doing in the past couple of years, and we have a few cool pieces. That's just a little sampling, a little
Taste.
taste of what the Doxa has in store for you.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I'm definitely excited to read it. That makes me really want to just like pick one up and dive right into all these exciting stories that CMU community is writing about. It's a great way to stay informed about what's going on, as well as listen to Wittenberg Radio, which you are already doing if you're hearing this. So thanks to you. How can people get involved with the Doxa if they haven't yet?
Well, we have a Doxa committee that meets every Thursday at noon in the Marpet classroom. So if you want to just kind of check it out and put out feelers, you can come to that. And we always have snacks. So for today's meeting, we're recording on a Thursday. So we have donuts, and it kind of changes.
Whoa.
But if you're hearing this, the donuts are probably already gone because the
Yeah.
meeting has already happened.
That's true.
So don't look forward to donuts necessarily.
But look forward to sweets.
Yeah, I saw them. They had gluten-free cookies the other day, even though there's no one that's gluten-free. But I'm gluten-free, but I was really excited.
Yeah, we want to be inclusive.
They're
We take
really
a
into
strong
being inclusive.
anti-gluten stance at the Doxa.
Don't say that. It's not true. We love the non-gluten. Wait.
No, we're
Oh.
anti-gluten, not anti-gluten-free.
Oh,
okay.
anti-gluten.
We hate
love
gluten.
gluten and anti-gluten.
We love gluten-free.
Okay.
That's
anyway.
good. Wow.
The worst interview ever.
Cut that part.
Sorry.
The worst interview.
No, from it's not you.
More like the best interview ever.
It's not you. It's me. It's me.
Trying really hard here.
Why are we breaking up?
No, it's both of us. I hate us.
Oh my gosh. This took a weird turn. Anyways, other ways you can get involved with the Doxa is you don't have to commit to writing for us every single time, but you can just drop a piece to our Doxa email. Or you can contact either James or I, and we can get you in touch. We're also looking for photography submissions and graphic design submissions. So if you just have something cool that you made, or even a drawing, we can scan that also, and we can have it featured in the Doxa. It doesn't have to be relevant to anything we're doing necessarily. We just want to include cool art pieces that CMU is creating.
Wow. What a cool platform. Grace, you've done a lot of graphic design, right? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I started out in acrylic painting when I was in high school, and it just kind of took off, and I started doing commissions, and then people started asking me to do graphic design stuff. And I mean, my parents both have computer science backgrounds, so it was just kind of an easy segue into that. And yeah, so I've been doing print designs for various organizations, and right now I have a set of prints selling at Oak and Lily Flower Shop on Corridon. So if you want to see some of my work, you can go check it out. Yeah, it's one of my greatest joys in life, is expressing ideas through art.
Wow. Fascinating. James, I guess what I'm wondering is, your father works for the Winnipeg Free Press. This is a little not the greatest transition. He's like an editor, right?
He's like a big deal.
He is,
like a big deal.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
How does that inform your involvement in a student publication? Or does it at all?
I think it definitely does in a big way. Yeah, I remember it just all the discussions that I've had with my dad about journalism and hearing about what it's like to work at the Free Press definitely got me thinking, like, wow, like, wouldn't it be awesome to get involved in stuff like that and to maybe help revitalize my own student body's publication.
Do you see that maybe as like a future career option?
I feel like I would be open to it. It's definitely it's a field that's really changing right now. Like if it was 50 years ago, I feel like 100%, because you could just like it was really clearly defined like what journalism is, but now with like the technological revolution, it's totally changing. And actually a lot like normal like old school newspapers are kind of suffering right now because of it, because of things like online news and yeah, I feel very similarly. The old, sitting down at a type or taking a recorder and reporting from the scene and the, I don't know, that golden age of like radio and that's kind of like a thing of the past. And it's difficult. I'm in a communications class, or just intro to like communications and media, and talking about how media has changed, and even what we're doing here, like it's a podcast, it's not a radio show. People don't listen to the radio as much maybe as they used to, and like podcasts, all of this is changing, and the Doxa and Wittenberg are maybe examples of ways that we're trying to keep that alive here, which is fascinating. And it's also, I think, important then for the CMU community to participate and to read and to listen. So I think that's also what we're kind of doing here. Would you agree? I don't know.
Yeah, totally. And I think at the Doxa this year, we're really trying to bring back that kind of old school journalism. Like we want people to take out recorders and interview people and get like those kinds of stories. And that's kind of what we campaigned on a little bit last year. And we're just like in the throes of implementing that. And I think James has been a really great influence in that regard. Kind of encouraging students to go out and interview people and sit down with a recorder and go through and edit and that kind of stuff. It's just, it's something that young people don't have the opportunity to do a lot anymore.
Yeah, and that's something I think we had talked about, working together on these things maybe in the future. So also like stay tuned for that. We'd at Wittenberg have often thought about maybe having contributors from Doxa on to expand on their articles potentially if they want to say more, or if you have a response to something that's in the Doxa or what's on Wittenberg, we want to encourage sort of ongoing dialogue between these publications, I guess you could say, for both of them. So we look forward to working with you in the future, and also with our listeners and the CMU community. I think that's all the time we have, but thank you for this wonderful interview. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Claudia, after talking with James and Grace, I could not help but hear about the fact that you have written an article for the Doxa. Do you mind elaborating a little bit on what you wrote?
Yeah, well, I guess I am. I am writing an article for the Doxa. I did. It's already in.
Oh,
So
wowee.
can't really change much now. There is an article coming out that I wrote in support of Wab Kinew. For those of you who don't know, Wab Kinew was just elected as the leader of the new Democratic Party for Manitoba. So the leader of the official opposition in our province. And his election was not very smooth, I guess you could say. As soon as he was elected, there were all sorts of this whole drama around these allegations of his domestic assault charges back in 2004 or 2003. Sorry, they were stayed in 2004, but all of this scandal came up and have kind of sabotaged his normally harmonious and joyous celebration of becoming the leader of a party. Was kind of tainted by these past things coming up that were kind of there to haunt him. So this has presented itself as quite the topic, something that many people have been very shaken up by, and rightly so. When you find out that someone that you voted for or have put your trust in as a political leader, or even if you haven't or if you don't support them, still to know that someone that is leading you or is a political leader has done some of these things. That's something not to take lightly, and so we figured at Doxa that this was something appropriate to spend some time on, and maybe look at different sides on the spectrum where you might find yourself now that he is elected. So I wrote a piece pro Wab Kinew, talking about how these allegations were stayed, first of all, in 2004. No one ever found any concrete, or he wasn't charged. There was evidence.
Right.
But he wasn't charged, and he was very young when this happened. Not to excuse any of it, but this is something that has come up from a long time ago. And so I wrote about that, and about how this might be a point of understanding for people who have come in trouble with the law before, and maybe feel like they have nothing to contribute. Wab Kinew is trying to use his past as a way to reach people that might feel a little bit written off by our society because of their criminal records or other circumstances where they might have been charged or are currently in trouble somehow. So that part of it is quite attractive, I think, especially in a society that is trying to make up or reconcile a lot of issues. So in that sense, he is a very important figure that might be able to do that, I think. It was fun for me to write a piece that took this narrative into an extreme, that said very clearly, like, I am for him. I don't know, if you asked me to reflect personally upon it, it is something, like I said before, not to take lightly. And and I wholeheartedly believe in women's rights, and I hate that survivors are not believed, and yet it's situational, and that was a tough realization for me while writing this.
Right.
Because on the one hand, writing that he shouldn't be written off because of something he did, also neither should the survivor, or the person that is who he assaulted. I didn't name her in my article because that is something that I feel strongly about as well. She didn't want any of this attention, and in an article with the Wittenberg Free Press, she said that she is reliving her trauma from a long time ago, from 12 years ago, 13, 14 even. Wow. 14 years ago. So that is something that no one wants, and so in that sense, it's a sticky situation all around, and maybe that's even an answer to why he hasn't brought it up in the past. He's very openly talked about other issues that he's had with alcoholism and assault charges, but specifically this domestic abuse has never come up, which is maybe a flaw in his plan of honesty, something that I definitely will have to work at, trying to regain my trust for him, or for any political leader. And something that another thing that I thought of often was how I might react if this were maybe a conservative politician, right?
Yeah,
a white male. And it's sad that race comes into this, but I think it does, because I also write that, Indigenous political involvement is something worth celebrating. And I'm so glad that there are many people involved. But collectively, we as a Canadian people and with our Indigenous brothers and sisters have a difficult past, and that is something that we will have to accept. And so, we need to be open to welcome and to forgive, maybe. Yeah, so that's kind of what I wrote about. So if you're interested in that at all, please do check it out, read it, and tell us what you think. And most of all, regardless of what you think, please do get engaged in our political climate. It's important to be involved, and to know what's going on and make your own decisions about things. Don't be influenced by others, but look at the facts and figure out what you think.
And that brings an end to our show. Thank you very much for listening. Remember to keep up with our upcoming events. Pick up a new issue of the Doxa coming out next week.
Most of all, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone. This is a time to reflect on our lives and look for things that we are thankful for. So please do that. And don't do too much homework. Eat copious amounts of pumpkin pie and turkey. Don't forget the gravy. It's the best part, in my opinion. And just have a really good time with people that you care about and that care about you.
All right. My name is Kenji Dick.
I'm Claudia Dewick.
And we'll see you next week.
Wittenberg Radio is a production of CMU Student Council. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and guests are not necessarily those of CMU Student Council.